Guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and this video is going to be a little bit different. So yesterday I shared this layout in a process video, and so if you want to check out this video, it is down below, so you can check out kind of how this project came together, the process video part. But then I had some questions from Carrie, who wanted me to kind of walk through my thought process throughout this layout. And this is actually a perfect layout for this because it wasn't anything that I had planned ahead of time. So some of my layouts I do a little bit of planning or pulling supplies ahead of time. For this one I didn't. So this is a really good one to walk through. If that is something that interests you hearing about, then please keep watching. If it is not, I'm not going to be offended at all if you skip by this video completely, because as I'm sure you are aware, hopefully by now, Crafty Heather, yes, Heather from Heather's Crafty Life, has kind of enticed and challenged me to do a video a day in July. So every day in July, I'm going to attempt to have a video for you, and we will see how we do throughout the month. And hopefully some days I will even have more than one video for you, because I do have some really fun things coming up this month and next month on my channel. Alright, so Carrie, this video is for you. Enjoy. Hopefully this is what you're looking for. Okay, so Carrie asked me some really specific questions about how this layout came together. And so I wanted to be able to address some of her questions, and it was way too hard to try and type an answer. So basically for this layout, I knew that I was participating in a Disney layout hop that Christine Mayer was putting on. And so there were a bunch of us YouTubers that were going to create a Disney page. I knew that I wanted to do something a little bit different. I also knew that I had this particular photo that I loved that I hadn't done anything with yet. So my original thought was this photo right here in 4x6, black and white, because I have photos of all of my kids in black and white with their first set of Mickey ears. And so this is the photo for my youngest. So it's kind of funny how it went from this to an 8.5 by 11, because what happened was I went to print this in 4x6, and my printer didn't have any 4x6 paper. And I didn't know that. And what happened was it printed it out on just regular, like, 8.5 by 11 plain copy paper. And I was like, well, that is not what I intended to have happen. However, how cool is this huge photo if the quality was better? And it got me thinking, maybe I should step outside my comfort zone, do something a little bit different, and thus an 8.5 by 11 photo paper quality photo of the exact same photo that I was planning to show you in this size. So I was like, all right, let's try something different. So I knew I had this huge photo. It is 8.5 by 11, so a full regular sheet of paper, and I knew I wanted to make it into a 12 by 12 layout. So I knew my space is going to be pretty limited. I don't have a lot of room to do extras. So I needed something that was going to be very impactful in small amounts. And something that I absolutely love is copper. So most people go with silver and go with gold, but for me, I just think the copper is beautiful. So the minute I saw this black and white photo and I knew I wanted to go simple and impactful, my brain immediately said, okay, copper. What do you have that's copper? And the first thing that came to mind was this alphabet that I just got in my new click kit. And this is from Pink Fresh Studio Live More. And it came with the alphabet, and it also came with all these little stars. So I was like, okay, I know I want to use this as part of my layout, and I know that I want to call it First Years. So the very first thing I did was look at this and say, all right, here's something I know I want to use, and a color combination now, black, white, and copper, that I can create with. So that was how this particular layout started. So then I kind of racked my brain, and I have a huge stash. I'm not going to lie, but I know my stash pretty well, so I know what's in it. So the very first thing that I do then is say, okay, what do I have that's going to go with this? So I've got this huge photo, I've got copper, and I've got black and white. So I immediately knew, okay, I want a white background, so I pulled that out. And then I'm thinking about what other copper things I have, and I knew that I had this pattern paper left over from an old Studio Calico kit because it was beautiful and I knew I was saving it for something wonderful. And so I found this and pulled it out. And then I also knew that I had this copper paint. And this is actually left over because I threw a huge Harry Potter birthday party for my son. And we used this to make wands for all the kids. And so I knew this was a great color. So far I had a sheet of 12 by 12 paper in this photo, my title, and these little stars. And that was basically it. So then from there, I just kind of was like, okay, I want some label details. Anytime I see like somebody like Shamel use a huge photo, she's got some labels going on. So I pulled out my box of labels and found these 2 little tiny labels from Illustrated Faith. And I pulled these out, and I also pulled out some red ones, which you saw in the video. I don't have them on my desk because they actually made it onto a different layout today. I tend to do that if I pull out just a couple of things of something. I keep them in this little jar right here, along with lip balm apparently. I keep them in this little tiny jar. And so these are things that I pulled out for a layout today that didn't make the cut. So they go in here. And then as I'm working, I can always kind of go back to this jar and say, hey, what have I dropped in there that I pulled out that I wanted to use that I haven't gotten to yet? So that's kind of where those things went and why you're not going to see those. So that gave me the start of an embellishment cluster down here. And so I wanted to go off of this Disney theme. And so I knew creating ears would be a really cool embellishment that would fit in my space and give me that second cluster on the diagonal. So all I did was go onto the internet and find a sketch of Mickey ears, put it in a Word document, and print it at the size I wanted, just on white paper. And you saw this in the process video too. And then I cut it out of this gorgeous paper. So as I'm putting these elements on the page, I know that I need more definition between this paper and this paper and this photo. I need something that's going to set all of these elements apart. And that's where this copper paint came in. So I just literally took a paintbrush and scraped it along the edge of the entire layout and along the edge of my ears. And that created that texture and that definition I was looking for. So then at that point is kind of where the process video part takes over. So I've got my photo, I've got this element here that's all ready to go. I know I want my title up here. I know it's going to say first ears, so I've got that prepped and ready. I've got all these little stars. That's kind of how all this part came together. And then I remembered that I had picked up at one of the scrapbook expos. They had one of those, you know, huge booths that had all kinds of rhinestones and stuff. And they had this little pack of, I know it's kind of hard to see, multicolored rhinestone Mickeys. And I just picked them up saying, hey, I do a lot of Disney layouts. I have a lot of Disney photos. I'm sure these will come in handy. And so I grabbed this out, actually looking for this little one that was black. And once I put that out here, grabbed this out of my stash, saw this little black one, there was way too much black and white going on, and it wouldn't work. But this little orange one was almost a match for this copper. And it was close enough that having these layers in between, you cannot tell when you look at this, even close up, that it is not intended to be copper and match everything else. So that gave me a way to tie the Mickey head from the top left to my photo with this giant Mickey ears down to this tiny detail of Mickey ears that carries to the bottom. So it's a Disney layout, but it's subtle enough to where I could have those 3 different elements and it's not overkill. It's not too much. So then the last thing that I did is I pulled out my title bundle that I just bought from LA Studio, because anytime you have something brand new, I'm really trying here to use it. And so I had this little space up here under my title, and I thought this was the perfect place to add one of these acrylic words. Magic is perfect. It goes with my black, white, and copper. It filled up that little space. Life was good. Last thing that I added, and you already know this from the process video, was the black tie sequins from Spiegel Mom Scraps. The way that I got from where I was to adding that detail, which makes a huge difference on this layout, in my opinion, is I took a picture of this layout and sent it to my scrappy friends. So I have a whole group of us that talk and chat and share things back and forth every single day almost. And so that's kind of, you know, my scrappy friends, my group. And so I shouted out to them and said, hey, what is this missing? Is it too simple? Is there something missing? And Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life immediately sent me back, you need some sequins on that layout. And so that right there was enough of a trigger for me. Grab those new black tie sequins, and you're going to go with the 3 clusters that you've already built, and that's going to be your finishing touch. And so that's how I got to here. And that's basically it. So Carrie, especially, I hope this is what you were looking for. I hope I answered a bunch of your burning questions. If I didn't, please comment down below. Tell me what you still want to know. And everybody else, was it helpful having this level of explanation? Are you interested, not interested? Help me out. I have to do a video every single day in July. What do you guys want to see? Help me out. Tell me what you want to see. Put it down below. All right, guys. I'll see you again soon. Actually, I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.